This is Politricking
On record, Tshidi.
with Tshidi Madia on EWN.
Hello, welcome to Politricking with myself, Tshidi Madia. So this is episode 19. If you ever listen to this platform, this podcast, there are two very distinct voices that open the podcast. The one is that says on record is actually Ace Makashule. It was a seminal moment where that came from. He was being suspended by the late, then his Deputy Secretary General of the ANC, JC Duarte, and he'd called me, I suppose, in that moment, having a rant. And at some point I said, can I take this on the record? And so that's where on the record comes from. But the other voice that you hear that says, we're not going anywhere, that people keep asking me about, is one that comes from the 2024 general elections. It was straight after the results had come out. We always wait for particular parties to speak. Mm-hmm. And the guest's cell phone just went off before I can even introduce him. That must give you a hint of who that other voice is. Or problematic. Even can't put his phone on silent. But anyway, so the other voice is that person who I often, if you pay attention, refer to as Ngwana Kokosara. I've consistently referred to him as Ngwana Kokosara. Julius Malema, who's the leader of the Economic Freedom Fighters. He's in studio. And I want to put it out there. I didn't invite you.
Yeah.
When I invite him, he doesn't come. He came knocking on his own, and I said, sure, let's have a conversation. Thank you for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Tshidi, and thanks to the listeners.
Happy 12 years. The
Thank
EFF
you.
is a preteen now.
Yeah.
Let's start there, actually. You know, you had a mass celebration in Cape Town. Lots of talk about the event. The kiddies section looked lovely. 12 years of the Reds.
Well, the Cape Town was something else because for the 12 years, we were being discouraged from going to Cape Town by the provincial leadership, amongst others, the national leadership that comes from Cape Town. They said it's not a good season, it's a rainy season, it's windy and all of that. So we decided to go to Umtata. And unfortunately, the floods happened. A lot of people passed away. We had to relocate the venue in less than a month. And the leadership was saying it must go to Limpopo. I said, no, let's go to Cape Town. They said, no, it's a bad idea. It's a rainy season. I said, let's put the dome. And because we cannot have the history of the EFF and not have Western Cape in that history of the EFF. And look at the ancestors and God and the weather. It was okay, and we pulled one of the most successful events of the EFF. But a take-home for me is that provincial leadership did that in less than a month. But what is more exciting for me, again, is without buses. I've never organized a rally without a bus. So they did it only with taxis. So it was an experience even for some of us who have been organizing events. And then we did the kiddies park because we normally have parents who come with their children because they can't leave them at home with anyone. But equally, they have got trust issues. So they want to be with their children. So we said, okay, to have these parents not distracted by kids, let's create the park and then let's send the children there. And let's have as many popcorn machines as possible. Let's have people who are going to paint their faces with the EFF logo, jumping castles, and things like that. So it was very exciting. So the thing with EFF anniversary is that it comes with that element of surprise. It doesn't just do things the way they were done before. The new ideas come in and they get embraced, and people can see that people who are preparing for these things apply their mind. They don't just say, no, throw a tent there and then we'll sing.
We talk about the extravaganza of the event. We're talking about all those other things. What I'm missing a little bit in conversations, the content of the message you delivered. Mm-hmm. Does that not worry you a little bit that part of the takeaway from this weekend is they know how to put on an event. The dome was impressive. But people aren't saying the message that he wants us to understand is A, B, C, D, E. The message that he's driving home is this, that, and the other. That doesn't worry you?
No, not at all. There's no way people can get my message. I'm very clear, articulate, and simplifies the most complex matters. Even those who are not well learned, they understand what I said.
It landed.
The message, people speak about the message, and they say on top of the message, this is for me.
All the
This
other
is for
stuff.
me. This is for me. And the message was well received right there where I was by the audience, and everywhere else. When I came back at the airports, people were quoting some of the things that I said. And that's how you pick up that the message has reached home. And how I knew we're going to have a big event, and I always tell them that I use a very simple sign. I was in a hotel and I was just walking, and a person came to me and said, "The worker, I will see you on Sunday." I mean, on Saturday at the rally. We are not working. Many of us here will be there. So I knew that, the message has reached now ordinary people who are now themselves spreading that message.
Itself. But 12 years, going back to the EFF, 12 years on, the work that you've put into building the EFF, it's gone through quite a testy year last year in front of everybody's eyes. When you reflect on your party, and it's 12 years, people, as you said, would have said that it was written off at some point. Others will make an argument that your most impact was during the Zuma years. Others will speak about how you're trying to find yourself anew. Your sense of your party now?
Well, we're building a revolutionary party that is rooted amongst the people. We deliberately went to our conference, increased our membership to 200, and that a branch in good standing will have 200 members, plus it will have 10 members per VD. If you miss one VD, that branch doesn't pass the audit. That comes out of a realization that we're growing. So we're like, we can't be stagnant at 100 and the traditional way of branches. We need to bring a different kind of style to allow the growth of the organization. And we are now on a stage where we're building sub-regions. We're done with branches. We're building sub-regions. We even added more responsibility of building the EFF Youth Command, which must have 200 members itself before it can launch a branch. So the EFF is growing, but the problem is those who control the narrative and the owners of the mainstream media want to suppress that growth. And it is unscientific because you might lie about it, but in reality, the organization is growing. It might have experienced a setback in the last year elections, not even more than 1%, and which will recover in the 2026 elections. It is politics. They are like that. They are like business. They are up and downs. If you don't have a conviction and you don't believe in what you are pushing, the message that you give people, it should be a message that you yourself believe in. I mean, we just took a decision now that the Secretary General of the EFF must resign from Parliament and be full-time so that we don't push governance at the expense of our organization. There must be someone full-time paying attention to detail as to how far are the branches and the sub-regions, how far are we ready for the 2026 election. So those are the things that we are doing to make sure that we build this organization.
Okay, I want to go back into all of that and unpack that a little bit. So with regards to the sub-regions, I think that deadline itself has been pushed back in terms of when they need to be done, if I'm correct?
Yeah. Including branches, the branches, they've been pushed back.
Is that because of the lacklusterness? What does that owe to?
No, people like working under pressure. If you don't put pressure, they don't. I mean, I can reduce 200 to 50 members.
Yeah.
And then say finish it in August. They will still not finish it.
Okay.
And then once they start seeing consequence management, only then
will they do
start
what they,
acting.
what they need to do. The other thing attached to your comments about the growth of the EFF will have to be the by-election results,
Yeah.
which I found really curious. We can speak about KZN, and the reason why I found them curious is that these 200 branches that are being launched, 200 member branches, would then suggest that in those areas you should perform well. But in some of those areas you don't perform well. And the question mark then is like, what kind of branches are actually being launched? If when you go back, there's barely anybody who then votes in favor of the EFF, it suggests that something's gone wrong in this growth trajectory or in rebuilding, doesn't it?
No, we don't have a candidate on the basis of a branch being in good standing. We have a candidate on the basis of having received 10% in the previous elections.
I remember that from your conference last year.
That is the formula we are using to determine whether we can have a candidate there or not. You may find the membership is less and things like that. But what we use is the election result. It's not the organizational strength, which is what I spoke about at the rally, that those who don't launch their branches this year will not qualify to contest for local government next year. Because launching a branch next year, it means it's a bogus branch. You are launching it for purpose of local government elections. CD, there are so many political parties in South Africa. And the EFF can't perform well in all the wards. We put up a fight and the voters decide what they want to do. But for me, more than anything, it's a training ground. I'm more interested in, do I have people in that corner who have an experience of fighting an election? Because so these are training grounds. And then the next election, 2026, you don't start people afresh. They already have an idea of what needs to be done. We do well. We're doing well in many areas. I mean, we did well in my ward where a state resource was deployed. All kinds of yellow machines were sent there to...
But you also put in a lot of resources in your ward.
Which one?
In your own ward. There was a lot of work. You were on the ground.
Which resource? You said resource.
You were resources. You were also there on the ground.
No, but that's not resource. That's us working.
Yes,
we didn't bring
effort.
We didn't bring state machinery.
I can accept your argument of state machinery.
Yes, to boost our election campaign. But what we did in Ward 13 is what we do everywhere else. Everywhere else where we have an election, we put up a fight. Once we take a decision, we're participating. We put up a fight. Of course, it's a ward where I come from. It will have a different attraction and the kind of people who want to come and sway votes this way and that way. I only went twice. I went when I went to speak at the Talatupa rally of the branch, and then I went for the second time. I actually went third time. I went second time when I went to vote, and I went back in the early hours of the morning to go and receive the victory.
There wasn't extra effort from where you stand in winning that ward? Because for me, what I'm trying to figure out around that, because I watched that, and I'll bring in Sibukeng into the conversation as well. When I watched that, and I thought to myself, it feels like much more effort is required to be in that particular ward. And the question then for me is, what sort of an EFF needs to prepare then for local government elections when it is that much of a fight to retain a ward? I don't know if I'm making any sense.
Yeah. You see, there's the 2026, there isn't much effort compared to what we have dealt with in Ward 13. Because in 2026, all the wards are going to elections.
Yes.
So you can't have everybody concentrated on one ward. So in that way, you fight your battle from proper organizational initiatives. But with these by-elections, it's not only the ANC, the IFP, every party in power. When there is a by-elections, they bring all types of state resource to try and fight. To
win. It's not only the EFF. I take that.
It's not only ANC. Not EFF. We don't take anything. We take our bodies. We take some few T-shirts and then the gazebos And then
But
it
those
is,
are resources.
but the resources compared to state machinery, you
and I
can't say
accept that
that.
argument.
No,
But I accept that argument.
you can't say,
Akilwa, I
okay,
accept that
Tshidi,
argument.
you want us to have an election and then it must be a normal day.
No, I said I accept that argument.
No, you can't say
I
when
accept
people are
that.
doing normal thing, then you say they brought a lot of resources. No, it's normal.
Okay, I accept
Yes,
that.
but once you bring graders, now I was born in Sishiu. For the first time, I found those lanes on the tar roads in Sishiu. They were doing stop signs and putting the
Malukisha
lanes.
because of
I'm
trying
like,
to win votes. Yeah.
we were seeing things here.
We
And
see that year
electricity,
and year with elections.
there
here
was
in our
electricity cut. They were actually getting used to it. That month, there was nothing. There were people got electricity. They made sure that they get electricity. But you know, people that you trained, you know how they think. Because most of the people who misled, those people that they can take the word from the EFF, is people who come from the EFF. So you know their thinking. They went to attack and put more resources in Juju Valley. And they concentrated there because EFF was winning with 85% in that VT. They said, no, everybody must go there. Let's fight there. And we knew they are there. We went into their traditional base. And we finished them in such a way that even if they were to win Juju Valley, they were not going to match us with the kind of support we brought from the traditional base of the ANC. I mean, there is a place there called 133. EFF used to get 10, 11. This time, the ANC got 900 and something. We got 400 and something. 133 is a new place of RDP houses, which they established countering Juju Valley. But even the people that they gave houses, they say, look, this is not what we want. We want more than that, and we think the EFF will deliver.
Then how do you make sense of votes, elections like Sebokeng? That's a constituency in my head that you speak to. That's the audience, that's the voters that you directly speak to. What would have happened in a situation like that?
I don't know, because I had focused too much in what they did. And then I only saw the results. Only then I knew that there was a ward where the EFF was contesting. And remember, after what they did, I went to East London for my court. After my court, I went to Cape Town for the rally. Only now I'm back. And then I'll get to understand as to what really
happened?
transpired. Yeah.
Okay, and then the other thing that I find fascinating is the EFF and KZN. I understand the need to look and to reach out to everybody everywhere for support. But no matter, I'm going to use the word resources again, but no matter how many resources you send towards KZN, that doesn't seem to pay back in kind. I'm not seeing it move the needle. A part of me is like, why are they not focusing where they've got a base and consolidate there? The need to continue going into KZN terrain and trying to grow when the election results, again, the by-elections are very much consistent with what we've seen as far as elections are concerned. What changes do you foresee happening? Why not let go?
Well, you can let go. Politics don't work like that. Anything can happen. 5 minutes is a lot of time in politics. Something can happen and it changes the balance of forces extremely in that province. So you can't write yourself off. That will be an act of cowardice. But there's no resource we're sending to KZN. We just changed the leadership, appointed the most capable leadership. That actually shocked me from time to time when I see them in their community initiatives, interventions, and visibility. The kind of people we have in KZN now make us sleep. We are fine. We all have accepted that it is a battleground. It's not like we're doing wow in Western Cape. Why are we not told give up in Western Cape? No, because you like to show this thing that blacks are finishing each other. They can't find one another. In the Western Cape, we're fighting. We started very small. The percentage in the Western Cape, it was very small. I think the last elections, where you are now at almost 10%, 9 point something, in the Western Cape. So And someone would have said, "Hey, Julius, 2%, no. 3%, leave this thing," and all of that. No. The collective leadership of the EFF said, we don't give up on our people. Whether they vote for us or not, we'll fight for them. And we'll spread the message. One day the message will resonate with the people. It took ANC 1912. It only governed in 1994. We are just 12 years. We are in government already.
I always feel like when it comes to the Western Cape, we are seeing inroads being made, mostly by the PA. I think that the DA knows very well it's under solid threat. In fact, I've always made an argument that when people speak about an NC trajectory everywhere else, you do need to look at the Western Cape. I'll admit here to you, when I look at the Western Cape, I look at the PA's growth in the Western Cape, definitely not looking at the performance of the EFF. You headed towards local...
There was a by-election now in a colored DA area that was won by
They
PA.
got a walloping, yeah.
Yeah, but we, in that one, in the previous elections, we got more than 20 votes. And in the by-election now, we got more than 400 votes in the same area. So when you are fighting a national election or even local government elections, every number matters because
It's about
it's
numbers,
not only
yeah.
the word. This 400 you get here, 500 figure, is going to give you proper PR representatives in the council. So it is that kind of growth which inspires us, and we cannot be discouraged from fighting in the Western Cape, in the KwaZulu-Natal, Eastern Cape, and Northern Cape.
You've always said, at least for some time until you got into local government, that you were a government in waiting. Then you found yourselves in government, in Kuruleni, Tshwane, and Joburg at some point. What have been the lessons?
We are in government in Joburg. We have an
Yes, I said
MMC
Joburg,
of public safety and MMC of health.
Yes, from Clinic, yes.
Yeah, so...
The lessons?
Yeah?
What have been the lessons for the EFF?
No. It has been a very interesting experience because, you think that certain things can be done through your own wishes, that this must be done now, this community is suffering, and then only to be told there's no budget, or we'll have to go on tender, and it will take this much time, and all of that. What was even more interesting for us is governance, especially a coalition government where you seek a consensus of everybody for you to move to any direction. The ANC has got a problem with that because they've been in power for too long. So they are not used to that consultation to say, let's move, let's do this, let's do that. I mean, Dada Morero just went to announce, is it a bomb squad or something?
Yes, the bomb squad.
And we all just heard it there. We didn't know it. The MMCs didn't know it because he thinks he still has got power. It is those kind of irritations that lead to instability in the local government. Not that ourselves as political parties are actually in a position where we're unable to listen to each other. If most of these people, when engaged, they respond positive. And the master at that is Panyaza Lusufi. He speaks to everyone. He can't miss your call as a party that is represented in the legislature, not even in government, in the legislature, giving an opinion or a view, he will listen to it. So I think if they can give themselves time and chance to learn from people like Panyaza, who appreciate the material condition that forces are not in our favor. And as a result, we need to, every day, for the next 5 years, consult until we win back confidence of our people or until we are released to the streets by the people of South Africa. I mean, this guy of Iguruleni, Dr.
Kagaza.
Kagaza, he removes Dunga without talking to us.
MMC.
Yeah, he has never spoken to us.
Date?
To date. And I sent him a message. I said, you can't do that. You remove our councillor. You don't talk to us. Probably because he thinks he's powerful. He can do as he wish, but I've been around and I know he won't stay for long with that kind of an attitude. I've seen people who act powerful who are now beggars. And I tell them, I sit with them in meetings and I say, don't do that. Just play along and be cooperative and listen to each other. And what is more is that we are parties in a coalition. Listen to what the majority of the parties are saying because you're not governing alone. I think we're going to experience a similar problem in Tshwane where the mayor doesn't listen to almost all parties when it comes to removal of the municipal manager. And Herman also behaving the Herman way of not wanting to listen to everyone. Behaving exactly the same way the ANC behaves. And what does this do? It leads to the instability of municipalities. Not because you can't work together. Some fool thinks he's powerful, but the voters never gave him that power. They said, come together and give us a proper government.
So you're suggesting that the coalition in Tshwane, as we speak now, could find itself on the brink. I mean, I'm talking to you on the back of the action essay saying that it still, supports the coalition, but the city manager is one of those sticking issues, but there are issues. When I listen to you now, you're making me realize that actually that back and forth could easily become something much bigger. And the people of Tshwane who believe that they've got some form of stability actually have been doing what? Falling for almost like a PR campaign of stability and that they're headed for rocky waters again?
Well, Herman is given a mayor from nowhere with no impeccable struggle credentials that will take all of us to say, no, we know this one. He just gives us a mayor. We say, okay, we give it to Action. They say it doesn't have numbers more than the ANC. But the ANC compromises that and says, okay, fine. If we want to rescue the city, even if we are many, we'll take the deputy mayor. That's a huge compromise. The parties now come together and say, we don't want this city manager. You don't listen to them. Who are you to not to listen to them? You don't have numbers. Herman has got no numbers. And if he continues to do that, we may see that city being destabilized again. The work in the city that we're doing is not a PR. If you go to Tshwane, London is becoming a small town in terms of cleanness and services to our people. We are turning the corner. The people are so happy in Tshwane. The problem is not the ANC this time. It's not it's a Herman who has less numbers than the ANC, who have the arrogant ANC saying, okay, we accept, take. And then he takes, and then he starts behaving like he's got power. Ego. Ego is what is going to kill most of these people in politics. Humble yourself. They don't say they don't want action. They say that we have a problem with this municipal manager. They put the facts on the table. Listen to them, okay, agree. And then start a process jointly, collectively, to come up with a city manager. What if that city manager is something that you will all like, because you are now, all of you, presiding over a process that will produce a city manager? Why do you want to behave like, no, if I remove this one, then it means the action SA won't have control? So I'm just saying to you, it is those irritations that lead to the instability. But I can tell you now, the coalition governments can work. They work very well. They are working here in Gauteng province because we've got a sober man. Before you ask me where they working coalitions.
I wasn't going to ask you what you're going to tell me about. You've already sang Pangaza's praises. I heard you loud and clear. What I was actually wondering is, what do you think needs to be put in place ahead of 2026? We are not going to escape coalitions.
Yeah.
Formally, what does the EFF want to see put on paper, even before the elections, that help prevent the mess that we've been seeing in the metros over the past couple of years?
I hate this thing of putting the party with more numbers to be a mayor or what.
Which is the ANC argument.
Which is the ANC argument. I think we must allow the parties to put forward mayoral candidates, and let's have a conversation about these people that they've presented to us, and let's choose the best amongst our parties, because the ANC with its majority will give you Dada Morero. And then say, no, we've got more numbers. Yes, Dada Morero. And Dada Morero get outshined by that lady in Tshwane who's got no credentials compared to that. Dada knows what are the problems of our people. His heart is just somewhere else, not in the execution of the mandate given to him. You've got Kagaza, who just do his own thing. But you can't say he doesn't know that the people of Tembisa don't want 200 rand extra on their electricity.
Surcharge, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm for conversation amongst the players and say, yeah, are the candidates.
Ego, though, Julius. I think
I've got no ego. I've got no ego. Don't confuse straightness with ego. I tell you what I think.
it's not straightness.
No,
all of you
I don't have
hubris as a problem. So all of you suffer from hubris. All of you think you're more important than the next one.
No.
So when you go to the table, I cannot imagine that you find one another. We've seen you fail to find one another. Time and time and time.
Look, this guy fires Tunga, and then
give him an ultimatum.
And then he didn't do it. And then what? Yes, I have to give you ultimatum. I have to push. I can't give you a political CC approach. I have to give a firm stand. So it didn't work. Where did the ego come in? We had to say, guys, we have a municipality to run. Let's proceed. When we negotiated with the ANC for this government of national unity and all of that, there was no ego. We said to them, remove the DA, remove the Freedom Front, we'll work together. Ourselves and the ANC, we've got 49%. I've never discussed being deputy president with President Ramaphosa or anything of positions with President Ramaphosa or the leadership of the ANC. I'm friends with Mbalula. We never even canvass those grounds. We just speak politics generally, because my obsession is not with positions. My obsession is with dismantling the status quo and putting aside white monopoly capital and having a government of black people that can deliver to black people without white supervision.
You know, when I looked at that IEC board, you take me back to last year's elections, that IEC board, when you look at the results, South Africans have a different preference of different iterations of the ANC, if you may. Because there was EFF there was MKP there was ANC itself. If you looked at those numbers, that's still the core of the electorate. Then one wonders, when you say you don't have an ego, then what stopped those parties from finding one another? When you speak about dismantling, depending on the day, you speak to different leaders, the message is the same. The message is we've got a problem with capitalism, with whiteness, but the requirements of getting to the table and having that conversation is found wanting across the political spectrum. Then what is it?
I told you, we don't want the DA. We don't want...
No, I'm asking now about the three. I'm looking at the three parties.
No, the problem is that...
the ANC's refusal.
The ANC's refusal, because the deal was made long before. But the other problem is President Zuma, because when the negotiations were happening at that time, President Zuma disappeared. And you couldn't talk to anyone, because all of them, when you talk to them, they say, okay, it is so kuluma no baba. It is so no one can take a decision. And I was wondering, and my engagement with the MK people, especially Ntleko, I was saying, you know, the demand for Ramaphosa to be removed, it's immaterial now. We now have to capture the state power and then operate together, the three of us, plus those who want to come with us. Through that operation, if Ramaphosa is for white capital and working with white capital, he will either release himself or there could be a consensus amongst ourselves, including the ANC, that this guy must be removed through a motion of no confidence. So they say Zuma is a chess player. You can't insist on going to direction where you see you're not going to have any impact. There sometimes you have to retreat in politics, even if you still know what you want to achieve. But to just say, till to date, Ramaphosa, I'm like, we're not getting anywhere. But the fight against white capital and establishment is something that we do with ease and that we can't retreat from. So I negotiated with the ANC there. They took us a picture. We were next to the toilet when we were about to pass
yes, I posted that on social. Yes.
When we were about to pass a budget. I was very simple. You are asking me to vote for a budget of the DA. No, it's not for DA. It's for, that's the problem. You still think government is yours. You don't have government. You are asking me to vote for the budget of the DA. The DA says it will not vote for its own budget, and you see nothing wrong with that. You want me to vote for people who are saying, hi, we can't vote for this budget. I'm not going to do that.
Going back to...
Once you remove the DA,
the conversation can happen on your part.
We can have a proper conversation.
So going back to 2026, I imagine it's the same conditions for you. Is that the DA must be out of the equation and you must figure out what the way forward should be for the cities, the metros, the municipalities.
Absolutely. I mean...
with the best person.
We grew up knowing who is the enemy of the revolution. We cannot want to pretend like DA is not the representative of the enemy of the revolution. DA is opposed to those who are oppressed to benefit from the system. It wants to maintain the benefits for those who benefited from the previous apartheid regime. In everything else they do, that's what they exist for. Yeah. So there are sides here. We cannot pretend like there are no sides. And the ANC is still wanting to pretend like it is broad and it can go kiss every frog in town. We can't allow that.
Again, I want to finish off local government, but I can't finish off without asking you about the EFF's candidates, the ideal person to foster the fight in Joburg, for instance. The DA has spoken of Helen. It looks very likely that she'll become their mayoral candidate. Does she go up against maybe a Dada Morero? Who does the EFF put up in a situation like that? Is it a question of finding somebody with just as big a name? What do you look for when you look for a candidate that will serve Joburg?
No, it's premature. Once I say Tshidi must be a mayor, all sorts of character assassinations are going to be unleashed on you. All kind of attacks, discrediting, everything is going to be unleashed on you. So we'll be having to defend you from now until the day of elections, distracted from what we need to do. The ANC doesn't do that. The Helen Zille thing is a bluff. Even if they do it, they won't win. They won't win. They cannot govern Johannesburg. We must refuse, with all the problems we have amongst ourselves, we must refuse for DA to come and govern Johannesburg. We will get Johannesburg right. We need the ANC's numbers to drop significantly and our numbers and Progressive Forces numbers increase significantly so that we deal with the ANC's arrogance and say, you are not going to give us someone who's not going to know how to clean a city. You know, Tshidi, I just took a car one day. I drove to North. I mean, I used to stay at Ponte. You see Ponte when I was a child. Yeah, Kosas. Used to stay at Ponte every morning. I used to come across North to Shell House at the beginning, then later Marshalltown, the Tool House. It was in a bad situation. But what you see now, it's like it has been converted into a dumping area with a debt piling above the taxi rank, not behind the taxi rank, at the entrance where our people pass every day. Why is Dada not making a call? Go and clean that thing. You don't need a tender there. I mean, you say in Fosloras there is a debt that has piled at this corner. I just take that tweet from whoever, Mudiba, I send it to Dunga. In less than a day, that thing has been cleaned. We said the people will govern. When people say, yeah, we must go and help them. But you tell these ones, hey, there is debt. I'm not talking Twitter, what. There's a problem here. They say to you that, what is it, City Parks or something. City Parks says, according to their programs, they've done cleaning in Joburg 99%.
And that's what people are feeling failed, is that we live in squalor. We look around us and you listen to our politicians and it doesn't add up. And then when people put in their own efforts to tee up our cities, Ekurhuleni included, we don't feel that we're met halfway through. So I also, Hashem, I've asked you so many questions about local government. It is a frustrating thing for many South Africans. I want to go to Parliament quickly. Beginning of the year, you spoke about wanting to be a constructive opposition in Parliament. I was irritated. I think I must be honest. The following day, when you kept us there at the opening of Parliament until 1 a.m., I think I actually saw and I said, "What happened to you? Not going to do gimmicks? You're keeping us here." I don't even think you remember. But, looking at yourselves now in Parliament, in the 7th administration, we don't see you a lot physically in Parliament. Your sense of how the EFF is faring, and while you answer that, maybe help me piece together the issues of the Progressive Caucus and where does it stand in 2025?
Well, the EFF is performing very well. It's the unofficial, official opposition. Its input are qualitative, and they've sparked a lot of debate in the country and have led to removal of people from positions because of how EFF people attend to issues. There is no committee that can sit in this country, in this parliament, without an EFF person being there, not as a body, with a qualitative input being made. There is no institution in South Africa that can go to parliament and not be held accountable by the EFF. So the EFF has actually managed to rescue isidima se opposition, the dignity of the opposition. EFF has managed to rescue that. Because what is called official opposition has got no political and administrative capacity and efficiency to deal with the issues we are dealing with in Parliament. That's why at some point one of their chief whip was saying he's going to pass a motion of no confidence against a minister. We said there's no such a thing. And then now there's another new chief whip who still messes up. And the other day I was not there. I can't remember what they were passing. She says, note the objection of the MK, and then she leaves it there. And then she doesn't call for division, but okay, noted, this thing has passed. Then Marshall is there with our national chair. They realized, hey man, she made a mistake. Then they stood up and said, no, we're calling for division. He said, no. She said she's objecting. She never called for. We tried to push. The chairperson refused. Now we went again. Appropriation bill. She made a horrible mistake again. You oppose the whole day. At the end of the day, you say, no, I support. So what happened is the EFF, from that mistake, I was able to communicate to them. I said, if it means repeating what the MK said, you must repeat it if it's opposition. Because if you think MK is going to say it, it doesn't say it, and then we all look clownish. So the EFF is solid in Parliament. The EFF is holding the executive accountable. The EFF participation can be felt by everyone, to the point where people say the 9% of the EFF feels like 90%. The EFF that stops VAT goes and removes and make a minister to go back to rewrite a new budget, come back to...
Was the DA?
No, it was not with the DA.
No, the DA was also part of the efforts.
No.
They also did their part. Hold on.
No.
Hold on.
Know how to read. You were just telling me that you are doing studies and what. Go and read the court papers.
Let's go back slightly.
The DA was not making the prayers for that. Go and read the court papers.
I want to go back slightly.
The EFF said, do not increase VAT.
Yes.
And the judges agreed with us.
I want to go back slightly. When you speak about the role of the EFF in Parliament, EFF of opposition. Is there no lost opportunity to bring MKP closer? You had that relationship at some point at the start. Have waters run dry completely that you cannot come back and fix the relationship and function as a core? Is it not more effective if you're working together?
I want to help you, and in return, you want to destroy me. What do you call that? You think I must continue helping you so that you can destroy me? I cannot do that. We were the most polite people. We took a decision. Floyd, Mbuyiseni, everyone. We said, we need to help these people to have a soft landing. To an extent that some of their things will be written by our own people.
Yes,
to an extent that
too.
Zuma's daughter said to me, some of the EFF people, it's like they're MK people. The way they are so warm to us, until they were to become MK people. For sure they were MK already, I didn't know. But she told me before, the way we were helping them. She said, it feels like these guys are even MK. We understood that when we arrived in Parliament, we didn't have anyone to hold our hand except General Olomisa.
Yes.
General Olomisa is my brother, is my father. I couldn't attend his 70th birthday, but happy birthday, General. I love you. I was at the EFF anniversary. He held our hands. We'll take our own financial statements, give to the treasurer of UDM. We'll take our own, we say we want to pay these people. They say, no, this money can't be used for this money. And then sometimes we overrule
it. You tried to
it.
be that for MKP.
Eh?
You tried to be this
because
MKP.
we had a similar experience.
And you threw it back in your face.
And those were our comrades. Like, they were not reactionaries. They were our comrades. We said, no, these comrades, we're going to work together. And those numbers look good combined with the EFF numbers, and whoever wants to come with us, we're going to have an impact as the opposition. The guys decide in their own mind, we're going to destroy these people who say they want to help us. So, it's only human that I must stay back and do my own thing. So, Progressive Caucus does not mean one political party. It means different political parties. Yeah. On issues we agree on, we'll push those issues together. On issues we don't agree on, we'll disagree. That's what maturity that's what maturity means. But for Colleen to start acting like a school rep who's in competition with another girl, when Umpile goes first, she gets irritated and then she throws her toys that I'm the one who's supposed to say it. But she's saying the same thing you want to say. What's your problem? So we are not in a fight with MK. We just decided to concentrate on our party and build our party. Because when we tried to be nice people, we almost got killed for being nice.
Let's stay with MKP for 2 seconds, actually. Yep. Former President, actually it's a line I think I heard from Freedom Balula,
yep,
that once you walk away from former President Jacob Zuma, you must never go back. That's a tactical error. As Julius Malema, who leads the EFF, when you reflect back on what happened over the past year, do you think you made a mistake going to the table, talking to former President Jacob Zuma about what the way forward should be?
But that will be a much harsh. You can't say to me, I must not talk to anyone. I mean, Helen Zille can talk to her. I can talk to her. Whether we agree or not is something else. Out of the discussion I had with President Zuma, nothing came out of that which suggested an entanglement, like someone wants to suggest it. No structure of the EFF was ever told that we are working with MK, do this for MK. No. So, even now, if I can go talk to President Zuma, I can talk to President Mbeki. I met President Mbeki at DD's funeral. May his soul rest in peace. I greeted him and then chit-chatted and then we moved. I've got nothing personal against him. We never discussed political strategy with Zuma. I discussed with Zuma, which is something all of you are refusing to listen. I said to Zuma, go to the Zondo Commission. The court has directed that you go to the Zondo Commission. If you don't go, there's going to be a huge fight. They're going to arrest you and there will be a problem. And he said, no, he's not going. I said to him, look, you are going to destroy this country because anyway, people will fight for you. People love you. People are going to fight for you, that you are treated unfairly. I also don't agree that you are being treated fairly in relation to the things they want you to come and talk about. But Baba, you are a politician. That thing is a huge international platform. You just take that thing and talk. When Zondo says, no, you say, ngisakhuluma, uzomamela, you said I must come here, ngisakhuluma uzonlalela. And you speak your point and you speak without reading. That's what I said to him. You speak without reading. You are the most articulate man. There's no way you're going to leave that chair without winning some people over. What matters? You went, you spoke politics. You spoke what you wanted to speak. You spoke your truth. Whether we accept it or not is something else. Had President Zuma taken my advice and went to Zondo Commission, we would have saved life in the July unrest in KZN. That's what people don't want to talk about. They say, no, this problem is that he went to Zuma. No, we didn't talk politics. We didn't talk EFF. I spoke to Zuma EFF in December before the launch in Soweto.
December 2023.
2023, before he launched.
But before then, you're taking Mkhwebane on, you're taking Zelemangi on.
Yes.
And the complaint in your party, at least to me, were people saying, but these people are not only being brought into the party, but they're being brought into very senior positions. And I think you tried to respond to it in the public saying that that's not a reward from where you stand. But for a lot of people, it connected the dots. That's what people were looking at. They were connecting you to Zuma through those people.
No. There's no dots with me. Me, I'm a straight person. You don't have to connect any dot. You want to know where I stand, I will tell you where I stand. If I wanted anything with President Zuma, I would have done it. Tshidi, I've done scary things in this country that nobody tried to take on such institutions head on. That's why I land in Oval Office, because I'm not the dots. You can't do it. I'm like this. You don't second guess me. Rupert went to Oval Office and said, say like a schoolboy to Trump. Say. He even marched to my farm. That's how much I hate the establishment. So why would I go and talk to Zuma and agree on something and engage in mushikashiga? I don't engage in mushikashiga. I engage in straight politics. That's why the way I speak this way because I don't have underground with anyone.
So that confusion, who do you place it on? Because
no, there's no confusion.
There was confusion. No, hold on.
No.
There was confusion to a point where people were saying, but this party was seen as an irritation to Zuma and it's seemingly being seen as a party working with him. You say that that's not the fact. People are refusing to accept that you went there about the Zondo Commission and nothing else. But there was still this perception.
There was Muzwandile Masina in the meeting.
Yes.
There was Tony Engeni in the meeting.
Yes.
There was Vuyani Pambo in the meeting.
I was outside the meeting.
Dudu was in the meeting. President Zuma was in the meeting. Let any of these five tell you that in confidence, if they don't want to tell you in public. Let them say, whisper in your ear that in that meeting, one of the things we agreed on is we're going to take Mkhwebane. No. Mkhwebane was brought by Dali and Floyd. Mani was brought by Floyd. They all left together the same way they brought each other. They were never brought by me. I never had any relationship with Mkhwebane. Mkhwebane has never received any call from me to say, hey, Chief, join EFF, you'll go to Parliament. No, not me. I've never done that. I've got a huge respect for Carl Niehaus. But him too was never brought by me. I never called him and said, he decided, look, this party thing is not working. Let's go and join the EFF. Something that he told me one day when we were marching. I can't remember when we were marching for what in Pretoria. He said to me, I always ask myself, how did you manage to do this thing? Because I'm trying to do it. Hey, it's not working. It's difficult. I said, no, we'll have a conversation. So you can hear that is a person who had admired the EFF already. So I never had such a conversation with President Zuma. How I land in Zuma's house is Floyd, Marshall, Dali go to the meeting, first meeting. The all parties must collapse into one party, blah, blah. They have a discussion. That's why Zuma addressed them for 3 hours. General Holomisa was there. And then they said, okay, let's go and have discussions separately. We'll come back. Then they come back. Floyd and Marshall is still alive. In my office, say, Dali's insisting that we need to collapse into MK. And we don't want that. And then when we tell him, he doesn't listen to us. I said, no, I saw Dali outside the office. He said, call him. He came. And they even said, this guy presented a written paper in the meeting. That's how much Floyd opposed that idea. So I said, okay, that's fine. Dali made a presentation to me. I said, no, it's not going to happen. He said, what? No, it's not going to happen. We're not going to do that. If they are honest people, they will tell you. They didn't have to second guess me. Then Dali said, what do we do? How do we get out of this? I said, no, you go to a meeting and say, guys, let's engage after elections. It's too close to elections. It will create confusion. That way you get out of that thing. That's how we concluded the discussion. Dali said, after those meetings where Zuma was told it's not working, Dali asked me, okay, my guy, this guy is still asking for 4 eyes with you. I said, Dali, what does he want from me? There's nothing I can tell him, which you guys didn't tell him. No, let's just do it. So I eventually agree. We go into a meeting with Zuma. He's playing there, loud music, loud Zulu music. He says, no, there's no music, they're going to intercept us on the phone. Hey, now we speak without music.
Why are you painting a picture of a paranoid person?
Yeah, so I sit there, and then he started telling a story. It didn't last for 10 minutes. He wanted to do those things of long stories of what? I said, hey, Baba, I know what you want. Dali was there, Floyd. So it's not going to happen. I don't agree with that. What I want from you, which is the meeting I've been asking with you, is for you to endorse the EFF.
Yes.
That's what I'm asking you to do. Any other thing, it will not have an impact. And what I said to him was, me and you in the 4 eyes like this, which is unprincipled to divulge 4 eyes discussions, we can talk what needs to happen after the elections. Because we can't just have you endorsing us. You've got, of course, you've got political interest. Let's engage after the elections. That's what I said. And then from there he said, no, that's fine. Dilna, it's too late for me to cancel this. Let me launch this thing. We'll talk after the elections. Sharp. We opened the door. Dali and them were sitting in another room. They were shocked that the meeting is over. Actually, we opened the door. The lady was just putting down the tea for them. It was done. I said, let's go.
That quick.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a conversation with Ace at some point trying to get his endorsement?
I've never.
Before the EFF's 10th birthday?
I've never.
There were rumors, reports that
now.
Before 10th, not now.
Never.
This is before the big FNB
I've not
event.
spoken to Ace.
So you never sought his endorsement or his membership?
Ace would have, if my memory serves me well, Ace would have had a discussion with Marshall, not me or Dali, because at some point it was Dali's.
Dali was representing
him. It was Dali's client. Yeah, if he had any engagement that is serious, could have been with Marshall or Dali, not me.
So as it stands now, Floyd is exploring towards a political party or not. Chances that he might establish a political party. That's what it looks like to us. What happens in 2029? A conversation around working together. Maybe he'll have something to barter with. Is that something that you'll be open to? Or does the betrayal or personal afflictions are so great that you're not willing to have that consideration yet? Or is it too soon to ask such a question?
No, it's not too soon. I speak to anyone. I speak to people who have done worse things to me in life. Worse. I mean, what Floyd did was, compared to what people did to me, is nothing. So I talk to everyone. I met Mbuyiseni at the ZCC.
Church,
St. Agnes. I went to greet him. He was facing the other way. I went to him and I went to greet him. So I have no problem at all. Tshidi, I think one of the things that make me survive is that I'm the only child. So I've never sought anyone's protection or endorsement or anything. I know I have to fight for my things. I have to fight for myself. So there's no brother who has ever said, hey, what's better mfana, what? Sanjika babet. self. And then awukampetha ko ubija bomma. But that was 10.
There's a personal cost story of being Julius Malema. For me, actually, I had a conversation with Mahlatsi about this once. Because at some point, Mahlatsi, at some point, we're laughing at the fact that you and boy Mama Bolo were actually like seen as two peas in a pod. So when you look at him today, and I look at you today, even looking at Josie Butani, the cost of the relationships, the personal bits of this journey, when you reflect on that, what goes through your mind?
Nothing. I mean, to call Mbuyiseni an ice boy was an extreme insult. Mbuyiseni had a role to play, was a spokesperson, was a commissar, was this. Boy Mama Bolo was my ice boy. I used to send him to fetch girls, send him to buy ice, send him to go buy alcohol. He had no opinion. Even now, he doesn't have an opinion. So he was useful for such things. So when you lose a nanny, you get another nanny. And then you want to remember the other nanny. I mean, I don't have time for that. He had a problem because he thought he was better than Lebo, Jacob Lebo. And he thought I was favoring Jacob Lebo over him. They are both Jacobs, by the way. Yes. So he thought I was favoring Lebo over him. And then I said, no, but he's got nothing to offer. Like nothing. You know, if a person stops a discussion to call someone with a private part, you must know they've got nothing to offer. And not in English. To be called those things in English, they sound a bit better. It's an undesirable person. So now and then you say I must sit here and have a regret. No, I can't.
How do you feel about it?
I don't feel anything. And then Josie. What's about Josie when he resigned from the legislature? I was called by Tumi Mukwena. You might remember my former lawyer. I don't know, this guy is gone. I don't know, you're mad. It's not going to happen. And then I said, let's put him on the line. He said, Josie, I hear you have resigned from the legislature. Leave those things. I hear you have resigned from the legislature. He said, yes. I said, okay, no, sharp. No problem. And then that's where the conversation stopped. Because that's what was bringing us together, the organization. So I must hear from the streets, and the EFF must hear from the ANC, because the speaker is ANC, saying to the EFF, the person has resigned. It's unfair. So, and then that's how it ended. I never did anything wrong to Jews. What he does, then he leaves the EFF. He insults me, insults my mother, he insults my grandmother, calls me with all types of things. And then, apparently, allegedly tried to commit suicide. And he was in coma for a very long time.
Which you used as a pot shot at a rally.
Yeah, and then they call me. Josie is in a hospital. Can we please move him from public hospital into a private hospital so that he can recover? I said, no, I'm not going to do it. You guys like testing me. I've not done anything to anyone. I'm just sitting here enjoying my own freedom. Came with 1994. A person insults me. I don't respond. Even these ones who are trying to form parties, they try taking jabs at me. I'm not going to respond.
People are wondering why you didn't say anything about Floyd. Even
nature will resolve them. It's not me. I'm not God. I don't control what they do. But look at all of them. You can single them out. You can actually leave that thing you are doing of studying politics in Africa. Just study those who left the EFF and where they are. Do a thesis on that. They're going to take your honors into masters straight. Because, they are hobos. Even the ones that Floyd is with in MK and in the new thing of theirs. Maibuye. They are calling me.
They also suggest that your councillors are also calling him.
They can call him. Me. They can call him. They can go. I don't have a problem. They can go. They are not the best of society. We did many of them favors. Many. They can go. That's when we're trying to attract quantity. Now we are working on quality. Anyone who comes with a tendency that suggests this person is not with us in the EFF in a genuine sense, we don't waste time. We show you the door same time. We can't be killed by people who are with us here. And whether you call us anything you want to call us, we'll do everything to survive. Everything. We're not going to be beaten and get eaten alive, because when we act, we're going to be called dictators or going to be called anything. How do you leave EFFs and say it's an organization of dictators, and you go into an organization of a person who can make a decree? A president can make a decree. There's no such a thing in the EFF where I can just wake up and announce that the whole thing is reshuffled. We've got a new team. No. So I'm not shaken by anything, because I know their individual capacity. I know what they are capable of and what they are not capable of. So some of them can't look after themselves. They can't. So to look after an organization.
You know, the question of your presidency, it's been 12 years of you at the helm in the EFF. I find that it gets a bit tricky for the party to discuss it when it's at conference, because it's a heated, it's tense, it's a conference. Is there room for a conversation about a EFF without Malema and Malema without an EFF presidency in between?
I don't get that.
So the conversation about you continuing as president, it often comes up when you guys are going to conferences. A part of me wonders whether or not there's room for a conversation to happen now when there is no conference, about whether or not your continued stay is what the party needs best, and whether or not it's also what's best for you to continue serving as president of the EFF.
You know, I if you remember the speech I gave at the gala dinner, and I was speaking very good about Floyd. I said,
when you were firing a salvo at Floyd,
I said
veiled threats at Floyd.
I said to him, you guys, you're going to inherit this thing, and just don't conspire against me. Because if I find out, I'm very shrewd. I'll fight back. I'm not the type that you're going to fight and you think I'm going to smile. Both in personal life, in business, in politics. I'm not that type. So you cannot go, just tell me. Why are you not telling me? Why am I telling you? When after we buried Moshe Mphahlele, we sat there at his home under the tree for a very long time. And I told him, we said in the presence of Floyd, Marshall, and I can't remember, Tembi was there, and many others. I said, I hear you want to be an SG. No, you can't. Marshall is here. Marshall is going to be an SG. Why would you want to contest Marshall? You comrades are still young. This thing, it belongs to you. You're going to inherit it. It's only natural that we're going to live. There's nothing that will keep us here. If anything, I'm not going to leave this office like Mangosuthu Butelis. I'm still very young, both in age and the body. I mean, if you look at me, you think I'm 38. I'm 44 years old. And then you're asking me about retirement. What must I do now at 44? This is the only thing I know. You've got organizations led by pensioners. I just said to you, Olome said 70. Cyril at whatever age, all of them. Actually, I think I'm only older than Floyd of people who are forming parties, people who are leading political parties. The rest are older than me. So I'm the one who's being asked to retire at this age.
You're not being asked to retire.
No, you're asking a question and I know what is the conversation about that question.
What is the conversation?
The conversation is, when are you leaving?
No, Julius.
Yeah. So you're asking me, when am I leaving? Leaving
no one's
to
rushing
where?
you to leave. It's just a question of...
No, I'm being rushed out. If you're pushing me out like that, you are actually removing me. You see? You are not saying to me, you contributed enough. We think we must now thank you. Go and stay at home. Don't push me, because I'm going to push back. Anyone who wants to remove me, he's got all the right to do that. But you must know that when I respond, I respond. And I take time to respond. But you guys, you don't remember what they did before Julius responded. That you don't remember. You only remember the Julius response. What makes me happy about the whole, they can say whatever nonsense they want to say. You said, Floyd, you never said anything about Floyd. You know why? He never dared to say that thing to me, on my face. He had access to me in private, in public. So why would I entertain such a coward? He never dared to say those things he's saying about me. He never told me, on my face. He never, if he's that strong and political, he never tried chances to remove me.
Within the party.
Yeah, then you can remove me from outside. Dali with his qualifications of being a credentials, lawyer, this and that, a brave man, what. He never said those things he says about me on my face. Mbuyiseni never said any nonsense he says about me on my face. And then they act all brave when they are outside. Come be brave here. Let's see what's going to happen. Anything I had to say to them, I said it to them right on their faces.
This is Piri. This is back and forth now happening.
That's why when Dali says, let's join, let's collapse it, I tell him on his face, no, it's not going to happen. And they are scared to tell him, they come to me. We're with this person in a meeting, this is what he said. Okay, call him. And then he came, I told him.
Directly. You are in this back and forth spat currently with the PA. You had your views last week at the media briefing about the allegations around Kenny Kunene. I think Gates and McKenzie had an overnight live, and you also made allegations about you as well. Also taking Potshots.
And said what? I didn't, no one told me.
I have them somewhere. It's my fault.
Why is there no media question? No one asked me.
No, it was covered. I know Lindsay did it for us.
No. Okay, why Lindsay's not calling me?
Why is Lindsay not calling you? I'll ask her.
My right of reply.
No, I think
get attacked by media and then you don't say.
I don't think she covered it. She told me.
Oh, okay.
Hey, but it's a Facebook Live, so you can also go look at it yourself.
I don't do Facebook.
Well, Gaten does.
Yeah, it's for those kind of mindset. Jailbird mentality.
Now hold on. Let me find it. Hold on.
I'm not a jailbird.
Hey, hold on.
Never went to jail.
I'm actually now looking up these
Never got
messages
arrested for stealing.
Julius is a Dom Ding. And Auntie Vat Netwell Skinner. EFF is in the ICU. The machines must just be turned off. He says, what me and Malema have in common, we are both bank robbers. I used to rob banks. He robs VBS. So a whole host of things. I mean, it's on that Facebook Live, Julius. You can go look at it all you want. But he's also now in the space where he's exchanging pot shots. These are your partners in Joburg. You're working with
No. They're not my partners. They are they're invited by the ANC. A mayor has got the right to invite anyone he wants to invite. We're all invited by the ANC.
So you don't look at it as you're working together. You're all working with the ANC.
If you invite me and you invite that prisoner to your house, I've got nothing to do with that prisoner. I'll take my corner and you take his corner. You'll entertain him because you are the one who called him.
And there are no egos.
I've never robbed anything in my entire life. Never. I've never robbed anything in my entire life.
But we're gonna be in this weird space now where there's a pot shots between.
They can say no. I didn't say. I never engage even with them like that, because Kenya showed him the door.
Yes.
Yeah, I showed him.
He came here to talk about
it's a boy. He's a boy. He was not. How can I? Okay. He says. They say to him, "How can you outshine the master?" Can you agree? Can you agree to you that I was his master at some point? Telling me about boys. I was his master at some point. How can he threaten me? Politically, there's no way. So, how can he left the EFF? It's actually Floyd who took a ride with Kenny from here to Rustenburg. After we had a discussion with Floyd and a guy called Machesana who used to print t-shirts for us downtown there, that Kenny is undesirable individual. He can't be part of this movement or for me. Floyd took a ride with Kenny in the thing. And then he told Kenny from here to Rustenburg, back from Rustenburg, he said, you are a liability. That's a problem. The problem is that you are a liability. That's when Kenny said, if I'm a liability, let me go. A meeting was convened here at Bramfontein where Kenny said those are the things Floyd said to him.
High school gossip.
And I tried to of course, I was agreeing with Floyd, but I was trying to save face. I was saying, no, we don't mean we must resign. We mean at least if we can take a back seat and then we allow the situation to calm down, then we'll see how we move forward.
Oh, so you're the person who's trying to manage it.
It's me who's trying to manage it.
You're the person who's the culprit in Kenny's
Because,
eyes now.
Okay, all those people who are in my way now, all of them, because you're going to accuse us of high school gossip, all of them.
Yeah, but it's like
all of them in my way who come from the EFF, except that woman who says she's a queen, who says is a deputy convener of my way. All of them were fired by him. All of them. And they know it. And they know it. And then the next thing, they agreed they were fired by me.
I'm tired of this conversation. Just a couple of few things.
Yeah.
Mbuyiseni, part of what was interesting about Mbuyiseni is Mbuyiseni coming out saying that we were lied to about Ramaphosa, we were misled about who Ramaphosa is. Then he started listing things that he felt the president had done that are progressive, or at least further the black agenda, so to speak. He didn't say who misled him. But a lot of people be like, oh, now that you're outside the EFF, the assumption is that comes from within the party. Your reading of that moment and what you were saying, was there anything to it? Did you attach those claims to being leveled against the EFF?
Well, the Mbuyiseni's uncle, it's an MEC in Free State. And,
Yes.
and that was their breadwinner. So he grew up looking up to that guy. And that guy's things went down. And then Mbuyiseni overtook him in the family was the thing. And when his things went down, this guy's things went up. So I can't be shocked if they say Mbuyiseni is going to join the ANC, because he's got a very close relationship with Toto. Toto is the one. And then they have a lot of interactions in between and all of that. So when an ANC member praises his own president, what must I do? There's nothing I can do about it. Look, the EFF requires no Mbuyiseni to survive. He's surviving now without him. And if you thought you are an individual with so much power that the EFF will only survive when you are there, you have to think again. Because Gayton speaks about ICU and all of that. What is it that the EFF has been doing since its formation, which is not happening now, that suggests it is in ICU? We actually are becoming more stronger and bigger. So you can't. You see, I'm in court with Kenny Kunen for saying I smoked drugs. I took drugs of Nigerians or Mazodi, some nonsense like that. We was there in Western Cape. But you know our judiciary, it takes forever. So I took him to court. So now that you are raising that thing, I litigate a lot. I'm going to check that thing and look at where he's damaging my image, that one. I will take
Facebook Live.
Yeah, I will take him on. Because don't lie about me. You can throw the jabs on VBS and what. Look, politically I've learned to accept that we will deal with that for some time. But MK has never had to deal with that, even when people who were implicated in VBS went to MK.
Yeah.
So I take, but don't become personal. If you become personal, I will sue you. I don't play. I don't play games. I will sue you the following day. And effectively, I sued Kenny Kunene. When he called me a cockroach, I won. And then they said he must apologize. He said he's going to appeal. He delayed the appeal. I went to the appeals court to want to appeal to rule. In his absence, he ran. We're now at appeals court. So I don't play with clowns who want to personalize politics. If you listen to the things I say, most of you think that are things that are suable. I don't say such things. That's why they could have sued me a long time ago. Even Praveen failed in court to sue me because they were like, man, that's what you call each other as politicians. What's your problem?
There's something I do need to address with you before I let you go. But before then,
Yeah.
I want to get a few last things. I never speak to Julia, so I need to get a few things out of the way. A lot of us were surprised when at the late DD Mabuza's funeral, when a businessman and a close friend of his, Robert Kumeda, said, you all knew where he was going to go in 2017.
Yes, it did.
It wasn't a last minute decision. It wasn't you always knew that he would go the way that he did. A lot of people were surprised by that because we had been made to understand the story completely differently. And then there's also a view that in the end, Didi was punished for it, that he was isolated by his own in the ANC to a degree and was in essence punished for it towards the latter days of his life.
Look, I was very close to Didi.
I'm actually aware. I actually, believe it or not, I know some things. But anyway, yeah.
So even when he became a premier, there was an attempt to undermine the ANC decision to make him premier. And then I was there, the legislature. I forced it. And that's how they ended up electing him as a premier. I was a regular at that farm. DD supported me in 2011 to be the president of the Youth League. So we were used to each other like that. We could spend time, and then we're friends with Robert and many other people. So Robert speaks like it was a meeting of conspirators. No,
yeah.
it was an informal discussion we had. But I would have had so many discussions with him. And my emphasis to him was, whatever happens, my guy, not another Zuma. It's not going to happen, that one. You cannot sell this country to the Guptas again. That's after Nkosazana accepted an award at the Guptas gathering as a Citizen of the Year, and she went to receive it on herself, personally herself. That's when I realized, no, man, she's involved. How do people get questioned like that, and then when you go and receive an award from them? So there is no such a thing. So we had a discussion about a lot of things. And so what happened? When he supported Cyril, right? He lost the Zuma group because they were like they're with him. Then he lost the Zuma group. When you lose the Zuma group, because it's by far half of that thing, and then you lose a smaller portion on your side, you're out. That's how politics work. That's how he lost it. And then this side, then there were others who had their own interest, and then they undermined him, and then they took some portion, and then that's how Didi got out of the whole thing. And he became a crybaby about it, because you don't have to cry in public like with Julius on the mics. He withdrew his participation. And this thing of politics, it's not generation. If you don't appear and then you reappear, there's a completely new generation. There you have to be consistent. That's why when Mkwanazi makes the allegations and all of that, Malema can't comment because he's not around. I mean, Polokwane, I'm on leave. Everybody, where's this one now? Where's this one now? You see? Because you don't comment, you are irrelevant, and then they write you off script. So that's the thing with Didi. Didi was a brother of mine, and even when I went there, I didn't doubt myself.
Okay,
and then remember, he's the one who was making public with him and Winnie Mandela that I must come back to the ANC.
Yes, he did.
He has been saying that consistently.
He really did. Yeah. I know I'm running out of time, but I can't like I said, there are things I can't let go of. The Commission of Inquiry, you've spoken about that. I actually thought back to state capture. Do you remember at the beginning of state capture, you'd consistently say, even when you had issues and apprehensions, you would go and make contributions. You'd also go and make submissions. And that actually never happened with the State Capture Commission. I'm looking at this current commission, and I've kind of started listening to you and your comments about it too. Your sentiments about actually going and whether or not we'll see that this time around.
The State Capture Commission came as a result of the EFF's court application at the Constitutional Court.
You would say that, yes.
And then why would you not invite the EFF that is going to take that order? We were ready. We're never invited. We reached out on the secretary of that commission. We reached out to Zondo. We were never invited to that commission because we're not going to serve the agenda.
Were you surprised? Are you surprised to hear him now be unhappy?
No, he can be unhappy about anything. He doesn't have a backbone. The guy had an opportunity to rescue us. He didn't rescue us. So I don't have a doubt about this commission. But I know what Politics 101 teaches you. That if you want deflect on something, delay it, make the people forget about it, establish a commission. Then it takes 2 years. 2 years. In 2 years' time, we would have had 3-4 different national issues that are of interest to us and making this one irrelevant. We want action on this thing. Cyril Ramaphosa must fire Mkhunu. Why do you establish a commission of inquiry? Yes, it's there. There's nothing we can do. We support it because it's there. But if there was willingness to act, you don't have to, you fire Mkhunu. They say there is a capture in the prosecuting authority, NPA, and then you say you are establishing a commission because of that, as if that thing was said for the first time. That thing was said by Bhatoi in Parliament, and she was made to retract. She said that. Then there is and then if there is a problem in the prosecuting authority, the prosecuting authority has got all the authority to deal with that matter. If there's a problem in the police have got all the authority to deal with that matter. They don't need a commission of inquiry. They can arrest you now. If there's a problem of the judiciary, you must go and ask Klope. They've got a process to deal with that. So why do you need a commission of inquiry that is going to cost 2 billion and take 2 years? On matters that police can act on, the NPA can act on, and the judiciary can act on, and Ramaphosa can act on. If anything, the president has to fire Senzo Mkhunu. But if Senzo Ngebele Muthu, a supporter president, Kiena who was supposed to say, I'm resigning my positions, I will remain a member of parliament, will still attack that. But that is a much more lesser responsibility compared to what he will be doing now. Why do you do that? I believe in my innocence, but I must help my friend, my comrade. Because at some point, Cyril was considering this guy to be
A successor.
a successor. That's how much close they are. So why can't they have a conversation, my guy? Just take a retreat. You'll be a member of parliament. But in the ANC, you'll still contribute in your factional politics and determining the future. Then nothing takes you out of that. Then you save face of your so-called president.
Okay.
So I know all these old men. You must know I grew up under them. One day another businessman will say, Julius met Ramaphosa and before 2017. It won't be a lie.
No, it wouldn't be a lie. I believe that. I know that.
Julius met Mbalula before. It wouldn't be a lie. So I know all of these guys. And I'm used to them.
Thank you
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Very long.
This is Politricking
On record, Tshidi.
with Tshidi Madia on EWN.